Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have Tony Scapone on the Epic Gamble versus Leginator on Reanimator. He is mulled down to 4 and thought seized himself. This is not gonna happen. I'm not gonna lie. He's gonna have to rip a land and have Tony not do anything too devastating on his turn in order to animate dead this Gristlebrand. A Thoughtseize on yourself, generally not where you want to be. It is a line that Reanimator has to take at times, but it looks like we're going to have a complete undoing of the situation here with an Echo. So despite Leg having really very few prospects, or just the one needing to rip a land, instead the graveyard is exchanged for a full 7. Tony, I'm sure, would have been happier with a line that didn't reload, but getting rid of that graveyard, certainly welcome. Echo of Aeons just pulls so much weight. Printing in Crimson Vow that may find its way into the sideboards of the Epic Gamble if it has the space. Probably doesn't. Oh, there's a new sorcery that draws cards equal to the number of cards you've discarded. Some corner cases that could be absolutely ridiculous thanks to the discard from Lion's Eye Diamond and Faithless Looting and Horn of Burgi. There's the Burgi. 3 mana left, 9 Storm. And a Galvanic Relay. So that's going to be 10 cards. All right, well, see what Leg's able to do here. A fresh 7. Godless Shrine. Faithless Looting, a card both decks are running. And not discarding anything good there. Another Faithless Looting. I don't really agree with the use of the Godless Shrine. If you're going to be drawing cards, generally you're going to wait to make your land drop to make sure it's the optimal land. A Faithless Looting discarded to a different Faithless Looting means that this was a red source. Could have kept that Lotus Petal around, could have used another Faithless Looting. There's all sorts of ways that this could have gone better. But passing back to Tony, this is almost certainly a kill from here. Ten cards with the Burgi. Each one of these cards, when cast, going to add a red mana. So, Faithless Looting, neutral. Looks like Legend ruling the Burgi. And what do we got here? Down to 13. The Storm is 6, so yeah, I mean, that's just a Burning Wish for Tendrils here. And that will do it with the 3 black floating. Able to grab a Tendrils for the win. Swinging with Bergie. Actually, not even necessary. The Tendril's enough, thanks to the Thoughtseize and the Shocks. Yeah, that Godless Shrine, definitely not ideal. I mean, could have been a scrub land, that's all fine and good, but was played untapped way early. Didn't need to be played untapped even. There was no use for that mana yet, so that's, I suppose, an instructive moment for anybody learning Legacy. You're going to want to wait until you've got as much information as possible in this type of matchup before you play your land. Now, if you're playing against Daze, that's a different story. You may find yourself getting caught by a Daze and you sequence things without taking the card into account. But there, those little decisions can sometimes mean the difference between winning and losing. Leg's going to have the play here. Fetching with Polluted Delta, grabbing a Badlands. This time, Thoughtseize pointed in the better direction. A couple of Shatter Skull Smashings, LED, Lotus Petal, and presume are the business cards on the other side of the hand, otherwise it's not worth keeping. All right, skipped ahead. Chris really tanking on this one. There's a Galvanic Relay or a Burning Wish, along with Lion's Eye Diamond and Lotus Petal to consider. Lotus Petal a consideration. I mean, taking the LED, it is the more dangerous card in the long run. The Lotus Petal was the linchpin for the early part of the hand there, because making a land drop and playing an LED doesn't actually enable Tony to do anything else with the rest of that hand. Of course, he could just draw Acceleration off the top and have the ability to do a relay, but I think Lotus Petal may have been the pick there. Let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, Tony drawing a Lotus Petal off the top like an absolute savage, and he gets a relay for 3. So next turn looking very dangerous. Gonna be able to Jessica's Will for a ton of mana and have a Bergie and a Burning Wish. Oh no. Just passing back? That's not good. Not good for Chris. Bergie up first. I'm going to pause and rewatch that. It looked like a Jessica's Will just ended up getting exiled rather than played. I believe Chris has enough cards in hand that Tony could have at least cast the Will and then the Bergie, instead leaving it exiled. I'll leave that up to you guys. You guys can critique the line. I'm mostly trying to recap the action and keep up with it at double speed. We got to reanimate on Gristlebrand. He has arrived. Can draw 7 cards and potentially shred the other side of the board. We've got a Caracas pouncing Bergie, Caracas, a very interesting sideboard card for Reanimator. I have run that in Storm before. A sideboard option against both Thalia and Gaddock Teague at one point. Those were the most common hate bears. This is before Leovold was printed. Had a Caracas. I don't know if I ever had two Caracas sideboard, but definitely had at least one, possibly two. And it was just a really efficient answer in those matchups. And it was a land drop for later, which is nice. Got Rite of Flame for Tony. Facing down a Gristlebrand. It's pretty much now or never. 7 new ones. Couple of red floating. Gristlebrand. Not quite lethal. Could be with a little alley-oop from Elish Norn, giving +2/+2 to all of Leg's creatures. That is a possibility. Tony do here just outside of lethal with the Gristlebrand, but you got to imagine Reanimator drawing 7 to 14 extra cards should be a nail in the coffin if the turn is passed. Lotus Petal into Void Snare. Wow. Void Snare. Bouncing Gristlebrand. Drawing 7 cards in response, so 15 cards in hand. That'll be 16 with the draw step. Be a fun time for an Echo. Completely getting rid of all of that ridiculous card advantage and turning it into a random 7. Echo goes to the bin. That's got to be pretty close to optimal. Wow, what did Tony gamble for that he hits the Echo and doesn't proceed? Interesting. Guess his hand was just like pretty trash. I mean, if he's got the Echo, you'd think he would go get a Lion's Eye Diamond. Of the Annex. Getting exhumed. So Chancellor of the Annex, a major problem here. Chris discarding down to 7. Tony's going to have to deal with this roided up Thalia. All of his spells are going to get countered unless he pays 1 more. Leg will need to remember the triggers. Down to 5. That is literal lethal from the Chancellor. Got an Echo for 4. I feel like almost impossible to win from here. Realistically going to need to like bounce the Chancellor or so hard to do that. Like 2 mana and all your ramp costs you mana. Probably game despite being at 2. 2 against a mono red deck and totally safe, it would seem. And that is the concession on to the next game. All right, so this might be a little weird one. Had to pause that and leave for a extended period of time, so hence the outfit change. Hopefully I didn't miss the end of that last game. I believe we're headed into game 3. Like, it's a faster combo deck, which is not typical. Usually, the Reanimator is going to enjoy being the faster deck. A Leyline and a Chancellor. 2 pregame effects that could prove to be a problem for Tony. Shatter Skull smashing. Coming in, bolting him. Lotus Petal, will he pay the 1? Yes. Lion's Eye Diamond. Passing the turn. And this Leyline of the Void is a huge issue because it shuts off the main draw engine of the deck to a large degree. I mean, Echo of Aeons is almost always going to be cast from the graveyard. It is possible for him to be casting it for 6 mana, kind of like a really bad time spiral, where you won't get the flashback if Leyline is on the board. Not flashing it back in the first place. Faithless Looting here, not going to be super exciting. Just draw 2, exile 2. That's a Fiery Islet. Really going to need to answer this, or perhaps go with something along the lines of Bergie's Horn. The backside of Bergie, certainly a valid way to generate a ton of card advantage. And here's Bergie's front side. I mean, I suppose that's also an option. Chris's hand is too weak. He could potentially get beat to death by a 3-3. Certainly hasn't done very much so far, just falling down low to both the Chancellor and a Leyline. But here, Bristlebrand just came back. I'm not actually clear how that happened. I believe there should be a Reanimate on top of the graveyard, or some type of reanimation effect. Like, almost certainly Reanimate based off of the way the life totals changed there. Got a Thoughtseize down to 2. The Echo and Jessica's Will. Will is taken. Very close being able to cast either of these. I mean, he can cast the Will. He's very close to casting the Echo at 5 mana. So the Echo is taken. And I guess end of turn discarding Serenity, which wouldn't be terrible to clear the other side of the board. We'll see what Jessica's Will can pull up here. I mean, this could reveal a wish for a Grape Shot, which would be lethal. Sure, Tony very aware of the potential just auto wins that could happen right now. Disappointing. Could have been much better, but... Oh, he's got the wish. He had the wish in hand. Well, that was filthy. Grabbing the Grape Shot. So cast Jessica's Will before the wish, and then just plays the wish for the win as he's able to grab Grape Shot and take out those last 2 points of life. That is absolutely brutal.